Have you ever noticed that some players improve every single season while others stay almost exactly the same? Not because they're lazy, not because they don't love football, not because they don't train, but because they accidentally built a football life that feels comfortable. And comfort is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a player, because comfort feels productive, comfort feels safe, comfort feels like progress. But most of the time, it's actually the reason you're improving slower than you should. The scary part? You usually don't realize it's happening until years have passed. You look back and wonder why players you used to dominate are now miles ahead of you, why younger players are catching up, why your development suddenly feels stuck. And that's what we're talking about today. Because the biggest threat to your football career isn't a bad coach. It's not a lack of talent. It's not even injuries. It's a comfort zone that's slowly making you worse without you noticing. The problem: most players misunderstand. When players think about improvement, they usually focus on effort. They ask, am I training hard enough? Am I working enough? Am I practicing enough? But effort isn't always the problem. You can train 5 days a week and still develop slowly. You can spend hundreds of hours with a ball and barely change as a player. Because improvement doesn't come from repeating what's comfortable. It comes from challenging what you're currently capable of. Think about a striker who only practices finishes they're already good at. They score constantly in training. Their confidence feels high. Everything looks great. But when they get into a match and need to finish off their weak foot under pressure, suddenly they're exposed. The training created comfort, not growth. And football is full of these traps. The trap of playing against weaker competition, the trap of avoiding mistakes, the trap of sticking to the same moves, the trap of always choosing what's familiar. Most players don't fail because they do too little. They fail because they spend too much time succeeding at easy things. And that's a completely different problem. The hidden cause: your brain loves staying the same. Here's what nobody talks about. Your brain doesn't actually care about becoming a better footballer. Your brain cares about protecting you. It wants certainty, predictability, safety. That's why it loves routines. That's why it loves familiar situations. And that's why it naturally pushes you toward activities where you already feel competent. The problem? Football development happens in the opposite direction. Growth lives where you're uncomfortable. Growth lives where mistakes happen. Growth lives where your current level gets exposed. Imagine two midfielders. Player A trains skills he's already confident with. Player B spends half his sessions working on weaknesses that make him look bad. For months, player A appears better, more polished, more consistent, more confident. But 6 months later, player B suddenly takes a huge leap forward because he spent time where development actually happens, inside discomfort. The footballers who improve fastest aren't the players who avoid weakness. They're the players who attack it. And that's a mindset most players never develop. Lesson 1. Stop being the best player in every session. This sounds strange, but if you're always the best player on the pitch, that's a problem. Now, obviously, everyone enjoys dominating. Everyone enjoys being the standout player. But domination doesn't force adaptation. Challenge does. Think about what happens when you're playing against weaker opponents. You have more time, more space, less pressure. Your decisions don't have to be sharp. Your technique doesn't have to be perfect. You can get away with mistakes. Then you move into a higher level match. Suddenly, everything speeds up. Your first touch gets pressured. Your passing windows disappear. Your weaknesses become visible. The players improving fastest constantly put themselves in situations where they're tested. They train with stronger players. They seek tougher competition. They expose themselves to environments where they're not the star, because every difficult environment reveals something that needs improvement, and every revelation becomes an opportunity to grow. If you're always comfortable, you're probably not being challenged enough. Lesson 2, your favorite moves are probably limiting you. Every player has comfort actions, the things they naturally rely on, the dribble they always use, the pass they always play, the direction they always turn, the foot they always trust. The problem is that opponents learn patterns, and football rewards adaptability. Let's say you're a winger. Every time you receive the ball, you cut inside onto your stronger foot. It works often, so you keep doing it. Eventually, defenders expect it. Now your weapon becomes predictable. Your comfort becomes a weakness. Elite players constantly expand their options. They're not dangerous because they have one solution. They're dangerous because they have many. The defender never knows what's coming next. Next training session, pay attention. How many actions do you repeat automatically? How many decisions are made out of habit rather than awareness? Growth starts when you intentionally develop the options you normally avoid. Because versatility is what separates good players from difficult players, and difficult players are the ones defenders hate facing. Lesson 3. The biggest development killer is protecting your ego. This one hurts, because almost everyone does it. Players avoid situations where they might look bad. They avoid trials, avoid stronger opponents, avoid difficult positions, avoid new challenges. Why? Because failure feels uncomfortable. Nobody wants to lose confidence. Nobody wants to get exposed. Nobody wants to make mistakes in front of teammates. But here's the reality. Your ego and your development are often fighting each other. Your ego wants proof you're already good. Development wants proof of what still needs work. Those are completely different goals. Let's say a defender struggles playing out from the back. Instead of improving that weakness, he keeps playing safe passes. Why? Because safe passes protect his image. But every safe decision delays improvement. The players who grow fastest are willing to look average temporarily. They're willing to make mistakes. They're willing to fail publicly because they understand something important. Short-term embarrassment creates long-term growth. Protecting your ego creates long-term stagnation. One path hurts now, the other hurts later. Choose carefully. Lesson 4. Comfort creates invisible weaknesses. One of the most dangerous things about comfort zones is that they hide problems. You don't notice weaknesses because situations never force them into the open. Imagine a midfielder who always receives the ball facing forward. Everything looks smooth. His passing is excellent. His decisions are quick. Then he faces aggressive pressing. Now he has to receive under pressure. Turn in tight spaces. Scan constantly. Protect possession. Suddenly he struggles. The weakness was always there. It was just hidden. This is why great players deliberately create difficult conditions in training. Smaller spaces, less time, more pressure, weaker foot restrictions, one-touch limitations, faster opponents. Because hard conditions reveal reality, and reality is where improvement begins. The players improving fastest aren't asking, what makes training easier? They're asking, what exposes my weaknesses? Those are completely different questions, and they lead to completely different careers. Lesson 5. Growth requires living on the edge of failure. There's a sweet spot where improvement happens, not where everything is impossible, and not where everything is easy, right on the edge. Where success is uncertain, where mistakes happen regularly, where you have to think faster, adapt quicker, solve tougher problems. That's where football development explodes. Think about learning a new skill. At first it feels awkward, slow, uncomfortable. Your performance might even drop. Most players quit here. They return to what's familiar. But the players who stay in that uncomfortable phase eventually break through, and when they do, their level jumps. Every major improvement in football follows this pattern. Discomfort, struggle, adaptation, breakthrough, comfort, then repeat. The players who understand this cycle never panic when training feels difficult. They know difficulty isn't evidence they're failing, it's evidence they're growing. How to apply this starting today? So how do you actually escape the comfort zone? Simple. Start asking better questions. Instead of asking, what am I good at? Ask, what am I avoiding? Instead of asking, where do I feel confident? Ask, where do I feel exposed? Instead of asking, how can I perform well today? Ask, how can I improve today? Choose one weakness this week. 1, not 10. 1. Maybe it's scanning. Maybe it's weak foot passing. Maybe it's receiving under pressure. Maybe it's defensive positioning. Then deliberately place yourself in situations where that weakness gets challenged. Not once, repeatedly. Because improvement doesn't happen when weakness is hidden. It happens when weakness is attacked. And remember, the goal of training isn't to prove you're already a great player. The goal of training is to become a better one. Those are not the same thing. Identity level close. The players who reach their potential aren't fearless. They're not comfortable. They're not always confident. What separates them is something much simpler. They stop treating discomfort like an enemy. They start treating it like a signal that they're exactly where they need to be. Because every level of football demands a new version of you, a version with better habits, better decisions, better awareness, better courage, and that version will never be built inside your comfort zone. The footballers who stay comfortable stay the same. The footballers who embrace challenge transform. So the next time training feels difficult, the next time you struggle against stronger players, the next time a weakness gets exposed, don't run from it. Lean into it. Because the moment football becomes uncomfortable is often the moment real improvement begins. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more football psychology, development, and performance content. And in the comments, tell me this. What's the one football weakness you've been avoiding that you're finally going to attack this week? Because your next breakthrough might be hiding inside it.